Hi guys, I am back with my 4-month follow-up, my weigh-in and my follow-up at my surgeon's office. And so when I started this journey in May, I was 287.8. And actually at my weigh-in last week, because I'm late doing this, I was 262.6. So all in all, in 4 months, I have lost 25.2 pounds. I am very happy with that. That is actually exactly what my arbitrary goal was. I want it to be at the 25-pound mark by month 4. Now, I almost didn't make it. My weight loss for the month of September actually turned out only being 2.2 pounds. And so let me tell you about September. So if you follow me on Instagram, and I think I mentioned it on my previous video, my birthday was in September. I turned 45 years old, and I went to Vegas for my birthday, which is something I often do, so it's not that big of a deal. I actually go to Vegas 2 or 3 times a year. My goals for Vegas, once again I put this on Instagram. I wanted to make sure that while I was there that I got at least 10,000 steps a day, and I wanted to make sure that I got at least 64 ounces of water a day, and then other than that I didn't have any other goals. Ordinarily when I go to Vegas, depending on who I go with, because I have friends who don't like to gamble and I have friends that do gamble, depending on who I'm going with, my steps will vary. And so this trip I was going with a friend who loves to gamble, probably even more than I do. So because of that, I knew that if I didn't set a goal of 10,000 steps, I would just spend all my time sitting at the slot machines with her. And then also, I do like to drink, and so normally I don't take the time to pay attention to my water when I'm in Vegas. And so trying to get 64 ounces of water in Vegas is a big challenge. And so I did get the 10,000 steps, but I didn't get the 64 ounces of water. I probably averaged around 50 ounces of water a day, which is still fantastic compared to what I normally would do. So I'm really good with that. I mean, actually, it was a great trip. I even found myself focusing more on protein and less on carbs. I think I even drank a little less, even though I really wasn't doing it on purpose because I had already decided that anything goes, because this is my last trip to Vegas before my surgery. I haven't talked to you guys yet about what I think about food funerals and what I'm doing along those lines. I'm going to do a video on that. I'm going to do it maybe in a couple of weeks. I'll talk about food funerals, and then I'm also going to talk about support. Who I'm telling, who I'm not telling about my surgery, stuff like that. So that will be coming up. So when I got back from Vegas, pretty much as expected, I had gained 5 pounds. And, you know, that was no big deal because, like I said, I expected that. The problem is that I had about a week between the time I went to Vegas and a week between the time of my last weigh-in and the time that I went to Vegas. The problem is that I could not stay on plan because I was so excited about going to Vegas. I ate very poorly for that week. And so I actually gained 5 pounds before I even went to Vegas. So by the time I came back from Vegas, I was up 10 pounds. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that my surgery center is very strict. You cannot have a gain. And so you cannot have a gain month to month. They don't care if you overall have lost weight. You can't gain weight, from one month to the next month. So I had 10 pounds to get off. And so as soon as I got back from Vegas, even though I had some belated birthday dinners, I still stayed on track and the weight was coming off. I was very pleased with how well the weight was coming off, and I had plenty of time. And then I made a mistake. I thought that I had done well. I had this day where I went out, and I thought I was making choices that were high protein and low carb, which I was. But I had some alcohol, and man, that alcohol, it will mess you up. And so the problem is that after that day, my weight went up the next day, and then it went up the next day, and then the next day it went up, even though I had immediately, like the very next day, I had increased my water, I had increased my exercise, I decreased my carbs. My body just did not react well. And then before I knew it, I only had a week to go before my weigh-in. And so I was panicking. I was scared. I decreased my calories even more. I was eating between 800 and 900 calories a day. I cut my carbs down to a net of about 20 or 25 carbs. And I increased my water even more. I can't remember how many ounces I was getting, but it was a lot more than what I normally get now. I was doing like 3 liters of water and more a day. And I was exercising every single day. And the weight was coming off so slowly. And then I stalled. For 4 days, the scale stayed exactly the same. Even though I was eating, now I can kind of understand, how you guys, after surgery, you're barely eating anything, and then the scale is still not moving. That is how I felt. I could not believe it. And like I said, I was scared to death about what if I don't have a loss? And so then let's see. I even made some cabbage soup because I thought, I'm going to do the cabbage soup diet. But then when I did the calculations for the soup, it had more carbs in it. And so then I didn't trust it because I'm like, I don't know, is cabbage soup diet going to work? This soup has too many carbs in it, because it was lots of onions and lots of tomatoes and even, cabbage. When you have a lot of cabbage, even that has some carbs. And so I made the cabbage soup, but then I was afraid to eat it. I eventually started doing just 3 shakes a day and a low carb meal. The scale still wasn't moving. So on the day before my weigh-in, I remember I woke up that morning. I also wasn't sleeping well during this time because I was just scared to death about starting all over again. And I woke up that morning and I was sitting there, I already had my meals planned out for the day, and I was sitting there and I was afraid to eat anything. Nothing had worked. I didn't know, was I in starvation mode? Do I need to increase my calories? Do I decrease my calories? Since my weight had been stalled for 4 days, then maybe, tomorrow was going to be the day that it was going to come off, and maybe I should stay the same. I was driving myself bananas. And so eventually I just decided, I'm not going to eat anything today because I don't know what to eat. And so it was like right then and there, I'm at work and, I'm working. I work from home. So I was in my office and I was like, I think that I'm just going to have a clear liquid day because I don't know what to eat. And as I was sitting there, I also realized, I am feeling constipated. And I am never constipated. I don't know how I'm going to be after surgery, but I never, ever, ever have constipation. And I think decreasing my carbs and, that decreases your fiber. And I was eating so few calories. And even though I was drinking a lot, I guess that did it. Once again, similar to what's going to happen to me after surgery. And so I'm like, I wonder if that's the reason why the scale hasn't moved, because I'm constipated. So I logged out of work, ran to the grocery store. I bought some chicken broth and some Dulcolax. Because Miralax, Britt Bratt mentioned this just recently in her video, Miralax doesn't work immediately, which is also one of the reasons why it's safe to use every day. It's gentle. Dulcolax or bisacodyl is a stimulant laxative, so it's irritating your intestines and trying to force that bowel movement. It does work relatively fast, within a few hours, or some people it's 8 hours. That's why you take it at night, and then you should have a bowel movement in the morning. It's not safe for everyday use because it's a stimulant laxative, and your body can become dependent on it and lose the ability to be able to, have a bowel movement without it. So it's not safe for every day, but it's definitely safe when you have an emergency. I mean, this is probably the first time I've even bought Dulcolax because I never have constipation. So I took the Dulcolax. I drank all liquids, just clear liquids and chicken broth that day. And then had my bowel movement. And the next day the scale finally moved, and I was so relieved. So needless to say, this month I am staying on track. I am not going to take the risk of going through all of that again. Plus, I'm not traveling anywhere this month, so I don't have, I'm staying the course. Let's see. So what happened at the doctor's office? I finally got to meet with my surgeon. Finally. Here I am, I was all in a panic about, not losing weight, and then I was so happy when I had stepped on the scale and I had lost weight that I didn't care who I talked to this month. And then it was my surgeon, and he was very pleased with my progress. He was happy with the 25 pounds. He said I was doing great. We talked about my diet. He wanted to know, what I was doing. Was I getting used to it? Did I like it? Things like that. I mean, I like my surgeon a lot, so I really did enjoy talking to him, and I don't remember everything we talked about, but it just really was a really good conversation, and like I said, I was pleased that he was happy with my progress. So, and I didn't get a chance to meet with the nutritionist this month. She was out that day, so I was a little worried what she was going to say about my food diary, because I also have to turn that in every month, because I had some low-calorie days in there, and it probably doesn't look very good. Like, she probably will see how desperate I was, to lose the weight before the weigh-in, but she wasn't there. I'll probably have to turn it in next month, but, it's going to be with my food journal for November, for October, so hopefully she just doesn't even notice it or pays any attention to it. Okay, I am talking fast because I don't want this to be another 20-minute video, even though I'm sure that it's going to be. The other thing I want to talk about is rewards. So, in one of my previous videos, I talked about how for every mini milestone, I am going to buy myself a little gift. And so for me, mini milestones are when I say goodbye to a previous decade of weight loss. I don't know what you call it. So like when I started off in the 280s. So when I said goodbye to the 280s, I bought myself the tea mug. And so now this time I have said goodbye permanently to the 270s. And so I bought myself these opal earrings. They're created opal earrings. So this was just my way to say goodbye to the 270s. That is where pretty much these past 20 years, the majority of the time, I have been in the 270s. I will go up a little bit from that, I'll go down a little bit from that through the years, but I was pretty much always in the 270s. The other thing is that I finally found my Pandora bracelet. So here is my, let's see, you know how these things, if you only have a few charms. So here's my Pandora bracelet. Now, I had purchased this bracelet when I had lost, the last time I lost a significant amount of weight. I bought this bracelet, and for every single one of those little mini milestones, I would buy myself a charm. So now I am going to go shopping in my own jewelry box for charms as I meet these same little mini milestones. So I started off with this little rose because I love roses. You can see that. Yeah. And then, so that's to represent getting out of the 280s. And then this clock, you can kind of see that, is, I don't know if it's, to represent that it's about time. It's about time that I get started with this weight loss journey, and it's about time that I finally do it. So, yeah, my Pandora bracelet. So when I get out of the 260s for good, then I will be adding on my third charm to represent saying goodbye to the 260s. And the reason why I'm buying also little mini rewards, because I don't need to buy any charms because I already have the charms. So it's just to give me the satisfaction of buying something. Once I run out of charms, so I only have like maybe 6. Once I run out of charms, then I'll stop buying other things and I'll just buy charms to put on my bracelet. I think that is really it. I know I'm talking really fast. I feel like I'm forgetting things, but I guess that's all that I need to say. I will come back to you guys, like I said, in a couple weeks and talk to you again about funerals and stuff. So you all take care. Bye.